A game's fate is usually sealed whenever the developers decide to officially abandon it publicly, usually in the form of a transparent blog post.
While there were a couple big pieces of news in today's official announcement, first and foremost is that DICE will be wrapping up seasonal support for Battlefield 2042.
The majority of the time, this is after the game has been deemed finished, like Raft for example. On the other hand though, there are hundreds of games all over the internet that just go into a coma, leaving their communities in the dark sometimes for years on end. Is it a requirement that you have to hold dynamite while you play?
Who wants to know?
Today we're exploring 5 abandoned games of all different sizes to hopefully meet the loyal players keeping these places alive. Starting with a game almost 2 decades old. The early 2000s. A time when games like GTA and The Sims dominated the entire sandbox genre. The big boom of sandbox games wasn't set to happen until later into the decade. But in 2004, a little game called Blockland appeared on the web as freeware. Blockland was created by Eric Hartman, who went by the name Badspot, and although LEGO were reportedly in talks over purchasing the game, it was never officially endorsed by or affiliated with LEGO, and became its own thing pretty quickly. Blockland suddenly gained tens of thousands of players from a pretty surprising showcase by a TV show called The Screensavers in February of 2005. The boost saw Blockland's development speed increase, but once it was fully developed and sold behind a price tag, people slowly lost interest. Updates slowed down immensely until in 2015 when the game was essentially abandoned by its developer. In 2024, almost a decade on, you'd be lucky to find more than 20 players online at once. I decided to explore Blockland to find out who's still stuck around after all these years, and there to help me was Sentry.
Yo, what's up, dude?
What's up? How you doing?
Pretty good. Just putting some last minute add-ons on for you to have some fun with.
Sentry has racked up about 15,000 hours on Blockland since 2008, and after he recommended the game, he offered to show me around. I love how you can choose the network type. Dial-up and broadband.
It really shows how old this game is. When you press B, it's gonna open the brick menu, and this is gonna have every single brick in the game. Yeah, there's like cool effect bricks too, or like paints, where you can just...
Oh, that froze my game for a second.
It froze mine too.
So it does render it as one object.
Okay. That is a very famous build here. Oh, press R. This is called Mr. Block's Slides. So this was made back around like 2005, 2006. This was before there was like any sort of like crazy add-ons for like helping you build things. So these were all hand placed. That's why if you look at everything, there's no floating bricks. Nowadays you can just put a brick in the air and hit enter and it'll place. You couldn't do that back in the day. It all had to be supported. So that's why there's like all these poles. This was made by Mr. Block. It's 12,000 bricks. And he somehow figured out that if you put these 2 ramps together like this, your character can't touch the ground, and so your character starts to essentially strafe. And so he basically made exploits using it to make this like sort of player pinball machine.
Although at first glance this build might look like something that took 10 minutes, you have to remember blocks couldn't float back then. Making something like this was far more challenging to put together without having the ability to place stuff in midair. Not to mention the gliding method used in it became instantly iconic and cemented this build into the Hall of Fame. I don't think Mr. Blocks could have imagined people still checking out his creation in awe almost 2 decades on from when he first built it. Does the guy who made it still play?
No one's heard from him in like many years. He's basically gone, but you know, he made a pretty large contribution to the game. Seen the Golden Gate Bridge made out of Lego bricks?
Oh my days. This is the Golden Gate Bridge, built entirely in Blockland about 2 decades ago. The size of this thing doesn't come across in the video, but it is genuinely huge and made up of over 45,000 bricks, all placed by hand. There are loads of builds just like these 2 immortalized forever in this game, created years ago by players who don't even play the game anymore. Is it going?
It is just silent.
This is so anticlimactic.
Every single person in this game has a Blockland ID number.
Sentry also told me about the Blockland ID tags, something given to every new player whenever they load up Blockland for the very first time. Sentry was number 12027, a bit lower than what I was. After the bridge, we joined a server called Block Ops Zombies. I can't fathom that this is just a Lego game.
I know, it's crazy.
This
You got a
guy's
knife too.
in my face. This game was developed by a community member called The Brighter Dark and took him over 500 hours. All of the assets are completely custom in the style of Blockland, and the maps are identical recreations to the real ones from the original Call of Duty Zombie series. Apart from noises occasionally sounding like they were coming from the wrong direction due to the extremely old sound drivers, this game was incredible. Reminded me of something you'd find on top of the Roblox server lists, except this generates no money for the creator, and it's made purely out of passion and insanity. What a terrible outfit that man has on. While on the topic of zombies though, Sentry introduced me to Block Eye Entertainment, a YouTube channel dedicated towards making mini Blockland movies, with their earliest being released in 2008. But in the game's prime, each new animation was a huge event.
Yeah, I remember like whenever he would release a new video, like a new animation, people would just, it was the big talk for like months.
In 2011, the channel sadly stopped uploading. Nowadays, the biggest events are the odd new game release, and just a few hours before Sentry and I logged on, one of the biggest games on Blockland returned. This is farming. Each year, this game mode returns with new updates and features for a few weeks, kind of like how you go back to Minecraft once a year for 2 weeks with your friends, then forget about it again and repeat the next year. The premise of farming is to harvest basic crops, expand your land, do quests, fight bosses, and then eventually build up a little empire in any order you wish. There were almost 20 people online at the time, and given how early it was in the server, people still had reasonably tiny farms.
Oh, dude, come meet this guy. This guy's a living Blockland legend.
Skillful life.
Oh, dude, he's got like a hole.
Where does the hole go? Don't touch my hole, he says.
I can't get out. Get out of
my
hole.
hole.
You don't want to go down there.
You've just stressed that man out. What's under there? So who is that man? Who is he?
He's known for a lot of things in Blockland. He used to have this parkour challenge server like forever ago. I mean, like a decade ago. It was called the Manliest Challenge.
Dude, every time I look behind, he ducks his head again.
Wait, hold on. Go in third person real quick and face this way, and then hold Z.
And I turn around.
What if you get on one side and I get on the other, and we just kind of like...
I'm just gonna
slowly approach him?
nonchalantly walk over here to the bus stop.
I think he might be more aware of me than he is of you right now.
Yeah. What is
Okay.
in his hole?
You just have to go down there and find out.
I don't want to.
You might have to talk him out of the hole.
Oh. Skillful Life is a long-time player of Blockland, like most of those online, and according to Sentry, the fella was role-playing Snuffkin. This was the first ever time I met Skillful Life, but he was honestly an absolute legend, and for days after I logged back on trying to find him and see his progress, but didn't meet him once until after about 2 weeks I eventually did, but we'll get to that. What did I just pick up? I just picked up this guy's fish.
Took his fish?
I'm sorry, buddy.
I like how he alarmed at you.
That first night, I got my own farm set up, and after Sentry gave me a bit of a helping hand, I went off on my own and just played for a while. Then a few days later, I returned. Okay, I'm logging into Blockland. It's been about 4 or 5 days. We're gonna see how much progress these people have made, and whether that skill guy is still here. What is that? That's like an entire cottage house. I mean, I don't know where their farm is, but this is beautiful. This is beautiful. Holy shit. Oh, here's a farm. Roses, okay. That is, I mean, it's a work in progress, I can see that. But it's coming along well. It looks insane. Look at the detail. Alright, this was a lot of fun. See you later, Blockland. Until next time. Although things were already pretty progressed here, I came back every couple days, and after about 2 weeks I logged on at 7 AM, only to see almost 20 people online still. A group of us slowly formed by this mansion I had visited a few days before, and they all just started playing music. Afterwards, they offered to actually take me to a boss fight, and I cautiously accepted. The group of 4 or 5 had grown to almost the entire server now, and we set off in 4 cars towards this invisible staircase that led us to some other realm. Bro, look how many of us there are. There's genuinely the whole server. After a bit of parkour, I fought the boss alongside the entire server, and with almost 20 of us, it still took about 8 minutes to take the fella down, and surprisingly only 1 of us died. If I'm being honest, I didn't really have a clue what was going on, but afterwards we all lined up by the throne and got one huge screenshot together. This is amazing. Look at us, man. Look at this group. To think this was all custom made by some community volunteers is just absolutely mad. Huge props to everyone involved with the creation of farming and to all the other game modes on Blockland. They are absolutely one of the main things keeping this thing alive for yet another year. Also, Skillful Life did log on while I was there, and not only did I see his beautiful house, I saw inside his hole as well. So here's Skillful Life's hole. Or house. Oh my goodness. It is absolutely nothing. Big thanks to all the legends that were so welcoming to me, and of course Sentry for touring me around and showing me what the real Blockland community is like. Yeah, what would you say the community is like nowadays?
It can be pretty edgy at times, but there's a lot of people in the game that are also very welcoming to new players and willing to teach you absolutely anything that you want to know about the game. So the forums used to be the one place that people talked about Blockland because it used to not be on Steam. The forums it's not moderated anymore, and I'm sure you can guess what happens when something is not moderated.
Yeah.
And so the Steam page is the same way. People just kind of post their feelings that they're going through about like how upset they are with like how the game's going, because no one wants this game to die.
The future for Blockland definitely looks bleak, with no updates in sight and a pretty distant developer. If I'm being honest, I don't think people really expect the developer to ever magically reappear and start pumping out updates again. I mean, the game received support for over a decade and now it's 2 decades old. Eventually people move on and have other goals in life.
I've actually asked Badspot himself about what it would take for him to make the game free. He said the game would have to actually get less than 1 sale per month for him to do that, because that $20 or like $10, it's still money coming in.
In fact, according to Sentry, the master server for Blockland is hosted off a computer in Badspot's garage, and as he says, at any time he could decide to be done with Blockland. That's how volatile this game feels at times. I think it's very important to recognize how kind and genuinely evolved this current Blockland community is, and if this game is to have a future of any kind, these people will be the reason why. Out of all of today's games, Battlefield 1 is by far the least abandoned and has extremely healthy player counts, and is technically even still supported by DICE, the developers. However, the updates have entirely stopped, with the last actual content update being in 2018. The Steam news section for Battlefield 1 is largely sales, and even now the game is 85% off, which might explain the currently higher player count. I knew Battlefield games were often ahead of their time, but this thing does not look like it came out almost a decade ago in 2016. God, this game is pretty magnificent looking. The general atmosphere is some of the best I think I've ever experienced in any game, and I'm not alone in that. Oh, that's a teammate. Look at that fella. Battlefield 1 was labelled the most polished and the most immersive Battlefield game of all time by most of the people I spoke to. It took me a couple of hours just to take in the beauty of this game, especially on maps like Monte Grappa. And then you factor in the classic Battlefield destruction mechanics, and things just go to the next level. I was about to go in. Not funny anymore. Oh, Granny Fourth. There's one. There's another. We lost again. I think it was a valiant effort. The next day I came back after a couple hours to try fight off the pre-workout I took that morning. That was absolutely throwing me through a loop. For some reason, I thought the most chaotic Battlefield game would be the perfect recipe to fix whatever I was going through. I've taken this incredible pre-workout earlier. It is called, something I can't say on YouTube without getting demonetized. It's by Dark Labs, and I took the beginner dose, and it feels like the hair on my head is standing up. We won! Oh shit. I thought that was a hammer. Oh, we're the Turks. So we're losing. I almost had him. I spent the last minute of the game AFK, led face down in a pillow on my bed. Even after 4 or 5 hours of playing the game, I wish I would have had the chance to see and talk to more of the Battlefield community. But for whatever reason, voice chat isn't used much, and the best I got was some people in chat telling me to be quiet. Nooks, give me a jump if you can hear me. Sorry. Regardless, when you consider that even the likes of Battlefield Bad Company 2 still have players, the future of Battlefield 1 looks bright, at least for now. In late July, I got a message over on Discord about a dead game I might be interested in. This game had gone 13 years so far without any updates, and was first released in 2009 onto a website called ModDB. After telling me about the game, Havoc told me there was a tightly knit community that still play the game together, and then linked me their Discord where they meet up every Saturday for an event they called Realism. Most of you have probably never heard of this mod, but it works very similarly to some other war shooters like the Darkest Hour mod. After I heard about this mod, I made sure to turn up to the next Saturday Realism attempt, and it went about as I expected. They pinged everybody 10 minutes ago, so I am 10 minutes late, but 7 people is not bad.
Check the house.
Come here, Pop. Come here. Come on. You. Come on. You can carry out this. Come on.
I'm coming.
Come on.
Ooh! I was genuinely in awe of how good this game felt for something made so long ago. I love these maps, man. These old source wartime maps. The Source engine is just perfect for this shit. So impressive considering when this stuff was first being developed. Hello.
Hello there.
Oh, you can hear me.
Oh, yeah, of course, man. Alright,
Wow.
Would you mind joining me on the tower? I'm gonna go snipe some dumbasses. I think the entrance... Yes.
Sure.
You're gonna guard my back. I'm gonna just sit there with the machine gun and farm kills, and you're gonna guide my ass so that some German doesn't stick a bayonet in it.
Gebiet gesichert.
Perfect. Yeah.
I think I hear someone coming up the stairs.
Yep, working on it. I was working on it.
You get points for trying.
Oh, I tried my best.
Yeah, but you got an MP. He's got an MP40, to be honest. He does have an MP40, so perfect. Machine gun in position.
I knew there was one below me, man.
30-30.
This fella was an absolute legend. Since I really didn't have a clue what was going on or what to do, it was really easy just to follow him each time I respawned and try my best to help him out, because at least then I was contributing. I don't know how to heal myself. That's a grenade. This game is not easy. But after about 30 minutes of waiting, the lobby numbers still hadn't increased, and for what I assume wasn't the first time, There just weren't enough players to really experience the game properly. Doesn't seem like we'll be having a realism today, boys. Yeah, we are 40 minutes in, and it's down to 3v3. I mean, it's not unplayable, but obviously they want probably more than 10 people. I would honestly love to see these lobbies hit 20, 30 people again. Now I'm actually getting the chance to explore it. It is incredible looking. Earlier on, I said this game hadn't received updates in 13 years. And while that is true, an Unreal Engine 4 remake of the game was said to be in progress in 2017, and just recently came on Steam under the name World War II Online Choke Point. The last dev blog stated that there was an all-new team working on the game, but the amount of progress made is unknown at this point. While researching Resistance and Liberation, I found a Reddit thread from over 13 years ago encouraging people to try this new source mod they discovered. They said the community of this game was hilarious, and I think the big appeal for this mod back then was the proximity chat, as that still wasn't a hugely widespread feature back then. The Reddit post was a copy-paste from the description of the video this fella uploaded to YouTube.
Yeah, let's go.
But the last part kinda got me. He said it will be a sad day if Resistance and Liberation gets forgotten. 13 years on, the game still lives, and not everybody has forgotten about it. As Havoc said, there really is a tight-knit community still trying to relive the game every Saturday. So in case you're interested in joining them, I'll leave the link to their Discord below. But remember to be respectful. More than any other Dead game, the name that gets mentioned to me the most is Interstellar Marines. The game with not quite enough funding and an extremely complicated history.
Interstellar Marines is basically the ambitious dream of a crazy game developer who played way too much Half-Life, System Shock and Rainbow Six. The game currently takes place at a high-tech military training facility located deep beneath the salty expanse of Groom Lake, Nevada. Here you will take on the role as an elite soldier, rigorously training for hostile insertions outside our solar system. One of our goals is to make Interstellar Marines a
In 2006, the developers for Interstellar Marines show a demo. The development team receives investors, who then later jump ship in the 2008 financial crisis. In 2012, a Kickstarter began that ultimately failed. Finally, in 2013, the game still releases onto Steam as a unique sci-fi first-person tactical shooter based around a campaign mode and PvP servers. The game received support and updates until around 2019. By 2019, the development team had switched around and changed faces a number of times, and after that, nobody really heard much from them. All I could find from developers was the occasional volunteer commenting on their Trello page talking about how COVID severely delayed the studio and held them back financially. What surprised me was that the servers are still running today, and after a couple hours of waiting, I never saw a single player log onto a server, and that about sums up the modern day state of Interstellar Marines. Instead, I decided to ask in my Discord for anyone who had the game to join a server with me and give this thing a go again, and it went just about as I'd hoped. Alright, well we're in and there is no... Oh, never mind, there is somebody. Yoda Gaming. Feels so weird. If you hold space down, you don't jump. But like, you can hold it down and like almost charge it. But if you click it instantly, you jump quite far. That's an interesting mechanic. Eventually, after about 15 awkward minutes, others did join. And by others, I mean 7 people. Oh, I'm a big fan of this rain noise. I don't know why, I'm a sucker for rain ambience. The fact that I can hear it bouncing off my hazmat suit, or whatever is going on, I'm a big fan. No, he killed himself. Oh! I did not see him. Okay, it's over. Dude, look, my goal was to get more than 10 people, and we've got more than 10 people. I think we've just set a record for like the most amount of people on the game in 2 or 3 years. I think we peaked at around 13 players, which would set the record for the highest player count since June 2020. So for something on about an hour's notice, I'd consider that a success.
I don't know.
Open up the menu where like you can go to settings and everything, and then open chat.
Oh, wait, so...
Oh, that's cute. There's people that have, like, spoken it, like, over the last couple days or something. This was a global chat for everyone who was online, and I'm assuming it used to be used a lot more than it is nowadays. In fact, half of the messages were weeks, maybe months old, and consisted of people talking about how much they missed the game, and how they can't find any lobbies. Interstellar Marines is definitely all but dead. A lobby with anyone else is practically impossible unless you organize it hours or ideally days beforehand. And even then, when I asked for people in the Interstellar Discord, no one replied to me. The campaign for Interstellar Marines was a huge part when it initially came out, and it's the only part that's still really playable. It features some strange things, like this lad on the toilet looking extremely exposed, and a land shark having a nap on the floor. The original trailer released in May of 2009 featured these land sharks about halfway through as an actual enemy inside the game, but till today these still haven't been added, and as far as I know the idea was scrapped, which was not a popular decision. Overall it felt like a really impressive shooter. I loved the jump mechanic, the immersion was absolutely next level, and especially that f***ing Wilhelm scream whenever somebody died. Oh. Interesting scream. I feel like Interstellar Marines will never live out what it was really supposed to be, but as long as 0 Point Software are still a thing, it's always a possibility. If you're interested in hearing more about the history and the reasons that led to the downfall of this game, check out Wicked Wizard's incredible video on it. I'll leave a link in the description. About a month ago, a viewer called Henry sent me a DM regarding a pretty niche Quake mod I'd never heard of. He said he hadn't played it in over 15 years, and that's usually enough to get me interested. The link he gave me redirected to a forums for a game called Smoking Guns, with some threads having no replies in the last decade. I discovered that after Smoking Guns 1.1 released in 2014, there really wasn't any development support after that, apart from one of the developers, Tequila, keeping the show running behind the scenes. Tequila told me personally that Smoking Guns is actually a descendant of an even older 2006 game called Western Quake 3. Some community members continued that game and eventually renamed it to Smoking Guns. Tequila was one of the main guys behind that transitional period, and he's still around today in the community Discord, although distant from the project. The only Smoking Guns servers left are all hosted by Tequila out of his own pocket, but apart from some bots, I found them all completely empty. I thought this would be a good opportunity to get you guys involved, so I added everyone in my Discord, which you can find linked in the description, and we all hopped in to revive it. Okay, I have told my Discord to get on the game in about, I think 10 minutes from now, maybe 20. A lot of people were having issues getting it running, and like in the main menu, if I tab out, it crashes the game. You just have to relaunch it again and again. But it's okay, because I trust that at least 5 people got it running. Okay, I think there is only 1 player. I did not expect this many people to come and play this very niche game that you have to download through a dodgy browser forum that isn't even active and hasn't been for like 4 years. This is why my community is just simply the best. I think it's safe to say we probably broke the record for the highest amount of players in one lobby in quite some time, and eventually even got a full lobby.
Also recently started watching your videos. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm sorry I don't upload often.
Please don't be sorry. Thank you for being you. It's a high quality video, so we look forward to it.
I appreciate that. What a kind gentleman. Sorry, Gusto.
It's okay. You just said my cat's name out loud, so you made my day.
We played Team Deathmatch for almost half an hour, checking out numerous maps, and only discovering halfway through that there was actually a buy menu where you can buy ammo, upgraded guns, and of course, a Gatling gun. The bank robbery mode was a lot of fun, and since you actually had a proper objective, it felt more purposeful.
Okay, so how will this work?
Whoa.
I don't know what this is.
You shoot the other team, you have to defend like a money bag.
Okay,
It's like a attack defend mode.
that's cool.
Well, good, because I just threw a dynamite and I don't know where.
There we go. One's dead.
Apparently there.
Holy shit.
Back away from the ball.
Flanking.
Yeah, I'm dead. Wait, did Gusto kill me again? Gusto's -1. He is -1 kill. Okay, he has a kill now. The bank robbery games were pretty back and forth, but I'd say the other team probably came out on top a few more times. All of us agreed smoking guns had a real charm to it, and some of the maps were just hauntingly beautiful. Around 2 hours in, we had a regular join us and was probably extremely puzzled as to why the game suddenly had a full lobby. I mean, imagine logging onto a game you never find anybody else on, only to see 20 other people you've never met before. Wow, you're talented. Look at that face. Is it a requirement that you have to hold dynamite while you play?
Who wants to know? I did genuinely want to throw it out, but the song continues. Sorry.
If you ever want to be a part of these events where we log on and give life to these dead games for a few hours, join my Discord using the link in the description. All of these games are no longer being developed, whether that's because the game was fully finished or whether the developers simply ghosted. These places still live on regardless because of the communities behind them.